Hello everybody, my name is William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I hope you all are doing well. Today we're back in our XCub for another FSEconomy flight. We'll be departing from Idaho County, flying onto Johnson Creek for some more backcountry flying. I hope you all do enjoy the video. If you do, make sure to give it a like. It does help me out a ton. I really do appreciate all the support. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the flight. Welcome on board the XCub, everybody. We're on the ramp here at Idaho County, and we're going to be getting ready for our departure here. So we're going to get the aircraft ready to start up. Put the open the fuel tank to left, mixture rich, prop full, and open the throttle just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and come through and get our battery on, mags on as well, and avionics. Go ahead and come on with the strobe light and our fuel pump. Make sure we are clear all around. Looks like we are, so clear prop. Alright, we got the engine started up. Oil pressure is in the green, so we are good to go there. Our throttle, we're right around 1,000 RPM, so we're going to keep it there as things kind of warm up. Oil temperature is going to just kind of continue to rise. Make sure it's still there, but oil pressure is really the one that we're after. Fuel pressure is good. We can go ahead and get the fuel pump off, and yeah, it drops down, but we're still in the green zone. So I'm going to go through and set up our avionics. We got a short flight to Johnson Creek. It's 67 miles as the crow flies, and we're not going to go exactly in a straight line. We are going to take a couple little valleys and stuff on the way, so I will kind of take a look at that on the map here after I get things set up. But we're gonna go through, get it set up, and we'll be ready to depart at a runway. I think we'll take 26 out of here if the wind doesn't look like it's too bad. Yeah, we'll take 26 and start our flight off to Johnson Creek. Alright, I think we should be able to run 26. We got our FSEconomy flight started. We're carrying one passenger on to Johnson Creek today, so we got them loaded up. We're going to be going, like I said, not a direct route. We're going to follow some valleys along the way. The weather looks really nice. We'll see if it kind of stays that way for our flight. But yeah, we're going to follow some river valleys. If we were flying straight, as the crow flies kind of, we would have some terrain to climb up above. We'd be going up above about 10,000 or so to be safe on the trip there. Johnson Creek has a 3,400 foot grass runway. That's north-south. It's runway 3517, and it sits at just under 5,000 feet in elevation as well. So we're going to be going up in elevation at as we go down to the southeast. But we're going to depart here and basically fly. I got a heading in the heading bug of, I think, 160. We're going to fly somewhere around that heading initially, and that should take us to a nice river valley for us to follow. And then we're going to have to make a couple turns for some forks in the river. That should take us all the way down to Johnson Creek. I should show you on the map once we get up in the air. But for the moment, we'll just go ahead and get ready for our departure. We're going to do no flaps departure on out of here, and we will get things set up a little bit more once we are holding short here at the line. So we are holding short. Let's go ahead and get the power back up just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and click that avionics master on, because I forgot, but our avionics are already on. We're going to put our transponder into altitude mode. We've got that set up. Landing light on. We'll keep it on, or we'll put it onto pulse, because that is the one that I think is the most visible during the day like this. Also at night, it works pretty well as long as you're going into a lit airport. We're going to depart on the left tank. We'll switch over to the right tank about halfway in the flight, and then probably go back to the left before we start our approach into Johnson Creek. Looks like it is clear on the approach end, and we will make sure it is clear all the way off to the left as we kind of come around here. It is clear, so we're taking the runway. departing runway 26 for a southbound departure here. So line her up. Let's go ahead and get power all the way forward. Nice happy feet on the rudder pedals here. Try and keep it somewhat centered. And there we go, we are up. It is a decent amount of work departing in one of these tail draggers. I still do not quite have the feel for it. I think how light these rudder pedals are does make it a little bit difficult. They don't have a whole lot of weight behind them. It's hard to just do small little inputs. There's some really nice rudder pedals on the market that you don't really have to worry about that too much. They've got some weight behind them. I think Thrustmaster has a nice set of rudder pedals that I'd love to try out. But they are a little bit expensive, so we're going to go ahead and start our return to the south now. Start heading into the direction that we need to go. We'll just go ahead and go to the heading on my heading bug, which is it is 160. And we're going to continue climbing on up. We roll out here. Let's trim the nose down just a little bit because we do want to keep our climb up. We have this terrain up in front of us that we want to make sure we're going to clear. But I also want to go ahead and get some airspeed. It looks like we're already getting a decent tailwind. We're doing 82 knots indicated, and our ground speed's up to almost 96. I'm not going to be upset by that at all if we get a nice tailwind for this flight. We'll probably kick it on the autopilot a couple times, but we're definitely not just going to throw it on to follow the GPS and take us all the way there. You can kind of take a look at the map here. So we're going to fly off this direction. We have this terrain kind of around here. I'm not sure. We can probably see it just over the nose in between. So we just want to make sure that we clear all that. So we're probably going to climb up maybe about 7,500 feet or so, and this will take us into our first little valley. We're going to follow this on to the east. It'll fork to the north and the south. We're going to follow it to the south, and then it'll fork again. We'll go back to the east, and then one more fork to the south, and that should basically be our approach run into Johnson Creek at that point, because that is, like I said, Johnson Creek is a runway 35 and 17 at 3,400 feet long, so probably going to want to fly this portion of it at least pretty well in the valley. That way we're ready to go ahead and do our approach in if we're wanting to land runway 17 anyways into Johnson Creek. So let's see, we're at about 7,000 feet, so we might as well lean the mixture out a little bit. There we go, and just saw a huge drop, so we'll lean a little rich of that. Make sure we're still on our heading. We had drifted over to the left a little bit while we were kind of looking at our map here. We'll just click the airplane once again and bring us back to following what we're actually doing here. And there's 7,500 feet. Just kind of smooth out as well as we can the climb because I wasn't really paying attention to it. Just jerk the plane down to level, and we'll kind of lower the nose a little bit more and trim down a little bit more as we continue to kind of build some airspeed. About 122 knots across the ground so far. Not too shabby at all. If we were flying about direct, it would be almost half an hour en route, but we are not going to go direct, so it is going to take us a little bit longer. But for you guys, we're just going to kind of level the plane out here, and we will throw it on the autopilot, enjoy some of the sights around, and we'll probably pick it up whenever we're about to drop into our, or follow our first valley, I should say. Had a nice cruise on the way over here. Terrain really wasn't that much. There was some higher terrain off to our left. We just kind of had to shoot the gap in between, kind of like I figured we'd have to. But we're ready to start our turn in and follow our first little valley. It's not so little. The mountains on both sides are up above me here. It looks like at 7,500 feet, so pretty decent sized valley, but we're going to follow this one all the way down until it forks up to the north and to the south, and we'll make our turn to the south at that point. So we're going to stay up here around 7,500 for this portion. I don't want to drop down in to the valley. I think it'll be better for us to keep some altitude, keep a nice smooth ride, and hopefully also take in some more of the sights. It is still amazing to me just how different the scenery is after you go, you know, we're like 25-ish nautical miles away from Idaho County, and you know, it's flat and kind of plain up there, and then we get out a little bit further to the south and we've got these huge valleys, mountains and everything around. It's pretty awesome. It does look like maybe we just got a big altimeter change. Yeah, we did. Seems like it's going to get a little bit rough in these areas. The wind is definitely blowing a decent amount, and we've got all this terrain up around us as well that it's going to be whipping off of. So it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride for the passenger, but I'm sure that they're... Oh, yeah, there we go. That's a pretty good roll right there off of the wind. I'm sure, you know, if you sign up for a ride in an XCub to a little airport like Johnson Creek, probably handle a little bit of a rougher ride, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Also, just kind of an in-flight note, I think we're going to be changing where we base this thing out of. Idaho County is nice. There's some cool places right around, but in FSEconomy it is actually currently closed. I guess maybe just the owner of the FBO there. It's the FBO that's closed. The airport's still operational, obviously, but the owner of the FBO maybe is just a little bit busy with some stuff, or hasn't noticed, something along those lines. We can't really base our plane out of there for too much, though, if it is a closed FBO. So we're going to move it on to McCall, which has the same type of flying and is not too far at all. I mean, I think it's within 30 nautical miles of Johnson Creek and has a ton of little airports like what I've enjoyed flying into so far right around it. So we'll probably go with that for our new base of operations, and just kind of continue on exploring a little bit more. It doesn't hurt anyways to just kind of change up our base every now and then to kind of keep it fresh. So sit back and see if we can kind of take in the sights from all the way up here over the valley. It is pretty beautiful, really big valley for a tiny little river running through it, is what it seems like anyways. We're going to take in the views. We'll be ready to make our turn at the fork here in just a moment, really. and then follow that one down to the south and make our way to Johnson Creek. We are coming up to the fork in the river. We're going to make our right turn and follow it off that direction up to the left side of it, though. It does look like there's a couple little airfields, airstrips. Let's see if we could try and see them. It looks like that may be one right there. That is a cool little airstrip for sure. We might have landed in this area before, or I may have, and this looks like it. Yep, that looks like it is the other one right there along the river path. Pretty cool. Those are the airstrips I am really enjoying in this region, but I don't think Johnson Creek is going to be quite like that. Nevertheless, it is going to be nice airport kind of out in the middle of nowhere, which is the whole point of this stuff. We'll see what it holds in store for us as we kind of make our way in. Wow, it is bumpy, bumpy, bumpy up here. Getting a lot of turbulence. Makes sense, but yeah, hopefully we don't get airsick. This would not be a fun plane to have your passenger get sick in while you're trying to take them somewhere. I guess they could just pop the window open. That is not something I want to think about having to clean up for sure. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shortcut on over this terrain. See this little dip in it right there. We're going to shortcut right in between it. We are going to try and expedite our way down to the south here so we can get to the next fork. We're going to go back to the east, and then, like I said, one more turn where we go back to the south, and that is going to basically be on our approach leg into Johnson Creek. We've got our fuel tank switched over to the right side, so we just we should be fine all the way in, but I do want to switch it back over to the left before we do our approach, just so we know there is enough on the left hand side, and we can just switch it over and be good to go. But either way, we're working now to the south, and we've got a decent amount of time before we get into the next phase where we make our turn. So we're gonna see if we can sit back, getting a couple little stutters, so may enjoy the views, or just kind of see if I can get this to smooth out before we make our next corner, or our next turn. Almost up to the next fork in the river here, so we're just going to go ahead and make our preemptive turn to the left. We can kind of see the river over here. You can just see it out just above the glare shield there. We make sure we are following the right path. We're just going to kind of cheat over a little bit of this terrain as well. It is a bumpy, bumpy ride up here. With it being so bumpy, I think we're going to wait on our descent just a little bit. I kind of wanted to fly down in the valley for this leg, but it is really choppy. Wind seems to be kind of coming out of the northwest. See, as we turned, we picked up quite a bit of speed. So it's definitely coming out of the northwest, or just straight up out of the west, which, if that is the case, it's going to make it an interesting landing here at Johnson Creek with the runway running north-south. but maybe that's just a good excuse for me to fall back on if I butcher this landing, since these tail wheel aircraft are still a bit of a challenge for me. I think they're a challenge for everybody, in all honesty. I was I can't remember where I heard about it from, but there was someone I was listening to that was talking about doing it's kind of like a backcountry flying school out here in Idaho. I can't remember where they said that they were based out of. It might have actually been McCall, which is where we're going to be basing our plane out of in the future. Just thinking about that, that'd be so fun to go fly into these kind of airports, but also to be able to do it with people that do this, you know, on a daily basis. Basically, learn from people that actually practice this all the time. And honestly, that's probably the best way to go about learning how to handle these aircraft into airports like these. Some challenging flying for sure, but it would be a blast. Be able to go take lessons doing this and get out into the wilderness a little bit as well. Would be a really good time. Maybe at some point down the line, be able to do that in real life. That would be awesome. We are gonna go ahead and start making our way down now. Like I said, Johnson Creek is sitting at just under 5,000 feet in elevation. We're gonna double check our altimeter and make sure it is on the most current 2978. See how much we're getting thrown around by this wind. We're gonna go ahead and pull the power back, and we're gonna increase the mixture just a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and come down, and let's put this back onto the left tank. So we are good to go. Get it down to about 6,000 feet, and then I want to get our airspeed down a little bit more. So we're going to make this right turn, and then basically just work on spotting the field and getting set up for an approach if we want to take runway 17. We'll see what it looks like whenever we make our turn. Definitely have a pretty strong tailwind at the moment. So the wind seems to be kind of coming out of the west. There's about 6,000 feet, so let's go ahead and level here. See, this is where we're going to be making our turn. Let's get our airspeed down, so we want to go ahead and make our turn in. And we will continue now down to the south. Just want to make sure we can see up over the nose. Keep the airspeed down around 80-ish knots or so would be great. At that point, we can drop our flaps whenever we need to. It's just about 2.5 miles now off our nose somewhere, probably around the corner. We're gonna have to work to find it. Let's go ahead and pull the power on back. Let's level the nose for a minute, get it down below 80, and we'll put the first notch of flaps out to kind of help us with our airspeed. And keep coming down. There is the airfield. Got that nice big grass runway. We're going to set up, we're going to go ahead and set up for, let's see what our airspeed looks like. Right now we got a 17 knot tailwind, so we're going to fly over and we're going to come back around for runway 35. That is just fine. Let's see if we can get a decent look at what the field looks like before we, oh man, it is a really bumpy day out here. Nice looking airfield. There's a bunch of aircraft parked off of what is going to be the east side of the field there. It's just fine. I'll know that we're going to plan on parking over there, I guess. So we're going to follow the river on up to the south for just a moment here. Keep our speed relatively low, do what we can with what the wind's doing. It is bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. And we're going to go ahead and make our turn in now. We're going to drop our second notch of flaps. It's going to be a nice tight turn. Alright, we have the field in sight. We're following the river on up. I think that helped our airspeed at all. I think the wind's just kind of whipping all over the place. Well, I've already got the excuse of the wind, so let's see what we can do. Nice and slow. Ooh, that was a rough one. That was definitely a rough one. It is, yeah, it was like a straight up crosswind for us there, looking at the windsock. But yeah, you could see all these airplanes off to the off to the right with their little tints, everything. They just watched us absolutely plow in, but fortunately we didn't nose over or anything like that, so the plane is intact. That's really the important part for us, I guess. That was a bit challenging, trying to judge where the wind was coming from. It's just a straight crosswind. We're going to go ahead and turn off to the right here, and we'll park on over. A nice scenery. It's a simple airport, but this is a beautiful location. And it's nice having just a little something whenever you come to an airport like this. Adds a little bit more to it, in my opinion. Even if it is just simple, you know, cones, some rocks, benches, everything like that. But that is going to bring our flight to an end, so all I gotta do is hit our parking brake. That logs our flight in FSEconomy. The passenger is running out of the plane. Probably gonna go get sick somewhere and maybe drop to the ground and kiss it a few times after that landing that we put them through. But I hope you all enjoyed the flight either way. It's fun. We're gonna relocate the plane to McCall, like I said, and we'll be doing some more of these flights in the coming weeks. So until then, bye bye.